focus on.
That's not necessarily a good thing to start
Yeah,
with.
they're stating
It
it.
wasn't around when we needed the greatest generation of the 30s or 40s or
happen before the election because there are too many Republicans that are afraid that their wrongdoing is going to.
It's unacceptable, and I'm not going to sit here, stay silent, and not call it out. I'm calling out their lies.
Do they think that we are so stupid that we will not notice and find out?
It's Thursday at 7:30 p.m. We almost got there on time. Juan, you're getting closer. You're getting closer, buddy. I'm proud of you. We all love you. I do have some bad news, Juan. Can you double check the feed over to YouTube? I do have my folks over here on TikTok saying they're not seeing that feed. So if you could just double check for me, I'd really appreciate it. Hey, listen, it's Thursday night. It's 7:30 p.m. We got tons of energy. We got lots of really good stuff to talk about. Going to see a little bit different on the format tonight. I have a couple of different things I want to show you. If you guys are over here on the TikTok, come on over. Search for me on YouTube. I'd love to have you guys come over. We can interact. We can have a good time. It is Purple Pen Night. That means it's serious. If you see the purple pen, somebody gave me some sunglasses over here. If you're over here, give me gifts. Tap the screen, give me gifts. Make this super cool. Come on over to the podcast. We're live right now on the YouTube. Here's my 2 cents. It's me, your host, Keith 2 Cent Sanders. If you want to know why they call me 2 Cent, you're going to have to, YouTube is great. Look at you, Monica. You're going to have to buy me a beer. I live on the east coast of Florida, as my father would say it. We call it the Space Coast. I would love to meet up with you. Some of you have found me out in public. It's super cool, kind of weird. I do think it's fun, though. Still kind of weird when people recognize you. But I did lose a bet recently, if I could just sort of digest. And his name is Dale, and he told me to call him out. So Dale, if you're on here, you should know I'm calling you out. He actually recognized me. We made a bet. I'm a big deal, but we didn't think anybody would recognize me on the cruise, or at least I didn't. Love to see you, Bradford. Thank you for being here. Give me your thoughts, comments, concerns, everything you want in there. We'll talk to each other. This guy, Dale, we were talking, and sure enough, he recognized me. So as a result, I lost the bet, and I had to take a shot. I think he called it a prairie wildfire. Who knows what a prairie wildfire drink is? I got to experience it. It is Tabasco sauce on a heavy amount of it and warm whiskey. It is fantastic. And by fantastic, it is horrible. I'm digesting a little bit because we're having a little fun. We've been doing pretty well. I want you guys to come on over to Truth Social. If you guys haven't seen Truth Social yet, look for my real name over there at 2 Cent. If you guys think I'm wild and crazy on the TikTok, I'm not so much on the YouTube. But if you love me on the TikTok and what we're doing there, wait till you see what we're doing over on the Truth Social. And heck, let's do a little segue. I wasn't going to talk about it, but just popped into my head. You got Elon Musk buying 9.2% of Twitter. What do we think about that? I haven't had a chance really to talk about it. And then he immediately got himself onto the board, which means he's got to be heard. I mean, he could stroke a check right now and buy the whole thing. You are in the Show Me State. That is Missouri. I believe that's in Missouri. Boom, gotcha. Love you, Stoney. I love all of you. I love you guys less because ain't none of you tapping the screen and throwing me gifts. You're getting a free show, or come on over to YouTube and interact with me. Hey, neighbor, you're down in Vero. Love to see you, Kurt. I used to fly over Vero all the time, or drop into Vero sometimes. Could be kind of busy. There's a lot of student pilots there. It gets a little bit difficult. Hey, found you, Michael. I love you. I don't love you guys as much, but I love them over here. Let's talk Elon Musk. I'm getting all distracted. You guys do this to me, but I still love you. Are we going to have a return to some freedom of speech? Because I'm seeing people saying that we're not suppressing freedom. We're putting an end to bullying and disinformation. That's the slippery slope, folks. That's the slippery slope. Who are you to decide what is and what is not? How about, as I have said 1,000 times, I say stupid stuff all the time. You say stupid stuff all the time. The people I disagree with say stupid stuff all the time. How about we all say our stupid stuff? Let's just say our stupid stuff, and then people can believe it, not believe it, disprove it, disbelieve it, look up what they want, believe what they want. Let's just all be able to say our stupid stuff. How great would that be? We'll call it freedom of speech, and we'll write it down. And we'll make a whole document about what a government is allowed to do. And then, because that's not restrictive enough, we'll put out these 10 amendments, we'll call them. And the very first one is going to be that this government cannot restrict my ability to have freedom of speech. Oh, and freedom of assembly. That's another go, and we could do that one too. And the right to peacefully protest. And by peacefully protest, that means when buildings spontaneously catch on fire while you're there. I've learned that. These are things that I know now. I know that when buildings spontaneously catch on fire in the background, that is a peaceful protest. Funny story, real quick. I have all these screens in front of me, and some of them are the previews or what's coming next. And just now, I said something that I thought was funny, and I looked at the preview screen, and there are the two people coming next, and they're laughing. And I thought they were laughing at my stupid joke, and they're not. It's funny to me, and my dog is barking in the background, but it's fun. It's fine. We're doing YouTube here tonight. I would very much like to see Elon Musk put some freedom of speech back in here. He's a very libertarian, which is I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if you don't like it, cool. Cool story. Ain't got nothing to do with me. Ain't got nothing to do with you. Huge advocate for freedom of speech. He might kind of just keep it at, hey, listen, I'll be the largest stakeholder. And this kind of just popping in my head right now. I'll be the largest stakeholder right now, and I'll work with you, or I'll just buy the whole damn thing and do whatever I want with it. Which one do you think he's going to do? If you're over here, you got to tap the screen or come on over to YouTube. Here's my 2 cents. Throw me some gifts. We'll have a good time. Your sample's going to run out tonight. I'm telling you, because ain't none of you here anyway. So come on over. I would love to see it. I would love to see everyone be able to get on there and say their stupid stuff. If you don't like it, you don't like it. The algorithm knows what you're interacting with and what you are not interacting with. If the algorithm isn't doing it enough, put a dislike button. Boom, done. Get this out of it. I don't want to see this. You want to be in your echo chamber? Be in your echo chamber. You don't like what somebody's saying? Don't talk to them. Don't read it. Move on. I mean, I read CNN and sometimes MSNBC. It's really hard for me because I don't like what they're saying. So I go look and see what they're saying. But that's my choice. I went over there. I think the same thing goes with Twitter, which of course is the de facto town square. You have what's called Section 230, which is supposed to be protection for tech, in that if I write something stupid on their wall, love to see you here, Michael. Hello from Chicago. Chirac, that's so terrible, dude. Get out of Chicago. If I write something on the wall, I'm the bad guy, not Facebook. That's how it works. Randy, love to see you. Let me give you your thoughts on what's going on with Mr. Musk himself. But they have perverted that. It's to say that they are not a publisher. If they're not a publisher, then they're not held liable to what other people are saying. But then they take down what people are saying. So then doesn't that make them a publisher? And then they say that they're using third-party fact checkers, and then they actually go in front of Congress and say, well, these fact checkers, it's an opinion. Not Congress, in court. They say that these fact checkers are opinion, but you can use those fact checkers to take people down, to take down their ability to have speech. We limit the speech. And again, going back to people saying they're leaving Twitter because they are not there to censor, they are there to end bullying and disinformation. Again, who are you? We know that fact checkers are using opinion because you, the media or social media, have told us that in court. So who are you? How are you right? Are you right? Tap the screen over here. Throw me some gifts. I do love all you guys. I'm very interested. I do think that Elon Musk is a bit of a provocateur. He might be doing this just for fun. For him to stroke a few $1 million, or I'm sorry, a few billion dollars, for him to do that is really nothing. He might be having a little fun with the folks over at Twitter. It might be sort of a shot across the bow. Hey, I'll just buy up all of these and then let people do whatever they want, which is what should happen. And then anything that these people do, they are responsible for, which is what should happen. I'm a bit of a libertarian on some stuff, but I can't go full libertarian. We could talk about that another time. I don't have any problem with libertarians. I can disagree with them, and I think that's great. And they would probably love my ability to disagree with them. All right, we did a little bit of digesting there right off the bat, but we're having some fun tonight. I didn't get to see you guys on Monday. If you're over here, you're about to lose it. You're about to lose it. Come on over to the YouTube. That's your last warning. Big topics to talk about tonight. Let's talk about Jackson being confirmed. You're a friend on TikTok. Love seeing you here. Thank you so much. We're going to talk about the idea of voting because I have a lot of pushback. Thank you, Derek. I love you. We have a lot of pushback about the idea of voting. I got some good stuff for you, and we're going to talk about this disinformation conference. I have never seen more tone deafness, if that's a word. I've never seen people be more tone deaf about anything in my life. Found me on YouTube. I love you. You guys have to come on over because bye. No more free shows. If you're over here, I do love you, though. Bye. All right, who do we got here? Branford. Oh, so the question is, what's his end game? Whose end game? Be a little more clear for me. Let's talk the confirmation of Jackson. I don't know her. I'm sure she's a fine, upstanding woman. She did tell me she's a woman. I'm sure she's a good person. I'm pretty sure she's a mother as well. I'm sure she's a fine, upstanding American. However, she's an activist judge. She is not there to interpret the law as written. against the Constitution as written. That is the charge of every Supreme Court justice, to interpret the law as written against the Constitution as written. She, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, is going to treat this as a living document. She's going to see how it applies to today, or how she wants it to apply to today. And she's relatively young. She will be on the bench for a long time. Let's talk about the historic nature of it. I love the idea of all Americans being able to achieve the American dream. I think that's fantastic. She's an African American woman, a mother, a scholar, a judge, all those good things. Good for her. Good for her. Good for the country. It's great that everyone has a chance at the American dream. I think she embodies the American dream in that she's a woman of color and she has worked her way up to where she is now. She sits on the highest court in the land. Good for her. I got no problems with her. I got no problems with her. I have a problem with her ideology, and I have a problem with the way she's going to rule from the bench. When you get these liberals, and you never get a Rogers, right? I believe it's Rogers, who's the Chief Justice right now, appointed by, is it Rogers, Juan? I'm pretty sure it's Rogers. Am I talking out of my butt here? No, what's it? Breyer. No, Breyer's leaving.
Roberts.
You can talk to me, Juan. Get in here. You can talk to
Roberts.
me. Roberts. Thank you. Roberts. Yeah, I had a head injury recently. Come on. Head trauma. Roberts, as appointed by W. He consistently tilts over to the liberal side. That's Miss Jackson Brown. Good for her. I did the wrong side. There she is. It's Roberts who will go with the liberals. I believe Roberts sees himself as sort of a middle ground. He needs to, if it's going to be a 6-3, he'll throw his vote to the other side to make it 5-4. So it's not so bad. If he could sway something the other way, so it's kind of more, we've had a lot go one way, let's go the other way now, he'll do that. You never get a liberal appointed justice who agrees with the conservatives. Ever. I mean, ever. But you will get conservative appointed justices who will then go with the liberals. Why? In some cases, it's because as the Constitution is written. So it might lead you that way. And you might then agree with them because they're actually interpreting the Constitution this time. Other times, I think it's for not necessarily nefarious, but not necessarily agnostic either. She is going to be an activist judge. She's going to judge how she wants it to fit her worldview of society and what she wants society to be. She will be a part of legislating from the branch. Remember, civics lesson, that's what you're going to get around here. Executive branch executes the laws and enforces them. The legislative branch writes the laws, and the judicial branch ensures that they are constitutional. That's how the three of them are supposed to work. What ends up happening is when the liberals, Bradford, what's the question? What is his thing? We already had that one. Oh, Musk, his end game. Well, I think he wants to kind of mess with people right now. I'm a bit of a cynic. I would love to see freedom of speech brought back in. All right, back to Miss Jackson Brown. Or is it Brown Jackson? Brown Jackson. She is, as I said, going to be with the liberals here, and you're supposed to have the three branches. What they're going to use the judicial branch for is when they can't pass a law, they will then sue in a circuit court that is then going to be pipelined to an appellate court that they like, that'll then get them to the Supreme Court, where they can then essentially get a law of the land. You never wrote the bill, you never passed the bill, voted on the bill, you never got it signed into law. You essentially have a law of the land because you can't go anywhere else. We've argued it. The answer is such, and that shall be. It can, of course, be overturned later on. However, that barely ever happens. Point being here, they're going to use the judicial branch to pass laws, which is not how it's supposed to be done. Let's hit the talking points. The talking points are, first of all, it's historic, and she's the first African-American woman appointed, first of all. So Joseph Robino Biden, however you say his middle name, gets credit for that. However, I told you guys about this a few weeks ago. Justice Janice Rogers Brown was blocked by voting, an African-American woman who worked her way through law school as a single mother. Pretty great story right there. However, she is, I think she was the descendant of sharecroppers. Great story. Really worked her way up. Again, the American dream. And she was originally blocked to the D.C. Court of Appeals by Biden, and then later confirmed, including bipartisanship, but blocked by Biden. And he said that should she ever be brought to the Supreme Court, she would be filibustered, which is why she was not then nominated to the Supreme Court by W. and instead we got who did we get on that one? Try to remember. It was a woman. Try to remember her name. Anyway, so he's not there for an African American woman to be nominated to the bench. He's there to have a liberal activist who happens to be an African American appointed to the bench. I do understand folks appreciate that you have an African American woman on the bench. I think that's great as well. She is the American dream, as I have said. I disagree with her ideology. She is going to be an activist judge, and I am definitely not looking forward to that. Let's do a quick segue over. I recently put out a TikTok. I know a lot of you are here because you follow me from TikTok. That then there is executive orders. Yeah, and executive orders, the executive fiat. I don't like when any of them do it because it can always be overturned. Biden is the most racist U.S. president in modern history. If Trump said any of the things that Biden has said, I don't know how nukes wouldn't have just launched themselves. It's insane the things this man has gotten away with saying to Charlemagne the God. I won't say it because I'll probably get my platform taken down, but you have all seen it. I do want to make the segue over to the idea of voting. I recently put out that having Obama come back to the White House was a desperation move to try to make Joe Biden look better. He can't get anything done. He is not an inspirational person. He is not charismatic. He is not a person that can bring people to his side. He can't bring his own side to his side. And so they're going to bring in the great orator. They're going to bring the charismatic and the inspirational Obama to celebrate the 12th anniversary of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. Yes, because it's always a monumental day when you hit the 12th anniversary of something. That's always something that you definitely have to make sure that you celebrate. It was a ruse. It was to get Obama there. And I said they have to do this because Biden is a shit show. I get one. There it is, one. He is a bag of poop. I can't say it twice. So they put Obama next to him. And they're hoping that through just standing next to him, some of that will wear off onto Joe. And it doesn't. It was a pathetic move. It was truly a pathetic move. Hey, remember the Affordable Care Act? If you're of our base, remember that? You love it. You love it. Remember Obama? You love it. You love it. Biden was a part of the things that you like about Obama. Remember that? Love him. Love him. Love him. And then we've all seen the videos of Obama glad handing and talking, and there's Kamala right next to him, getting all that FaceTime. Look, I'm with Obama. And then there's Joe behind them. And it was pathetic. It was truly pathetic, and it completely backfired on them. Biden went off the stage. Everyone went over to Obama. Then Obama was walking through the crowd, and Biden is quite literally pulling him by the shoulder. Obama knew who was on that shoulder, and he did everything but sort of shrug him off. I mean, he's sort of like slowly like, I know you're there, Grandpa, but instead Joe didn't let go, and it was cringy, it was pathetic, and it completely backfired on them. They have nothing. I'm taking you the long way around. Why? In that video, I said they're doing this, the Democrats, because they're going to get shellacked in November. And what did I get back? I love all of you. You know I love all of you. I'm getting back people who say they're going to steal this election. My vote doesn't count. So I love you. I have mentioned this before, but I'm going to cite it. We have had 19 states enact, and this is according to NBC News, enact voting restrictions. You and I would know them as voter ID laws, voter identification, voter verification laws. They make it easier to vote, and they make it harder to cheat. So if you have NBC News saying that 19 states have enacted voting restrictions, these laws have teeth. They are scared of these laws. 19 states have passed these laws that they call voter restriction. If they're calling it voter restriction, that's a good thing. They are voter ID laws. Are you following me? They would not be hyperventilating about them if they didn't have teeth. Folks, they have teeth. And you're going to get out and vote. And to quote my good friend Victor Nieves, you should check him out. You can look him up here on the YouTube. Not only when you vote, you bring someone to vote with you. We are the new grassroots. You are going to talk to your neighbors. You're going to tell them about how these voter identification laws have teeth. You're going to do the research. You're going to see that these voter ID laws are there. They did ignore him, Randy. These Voter ID laws are in place and they have teeth. Here's another thing we got going. It made Biden look even worse. It absolutely did. It completely backfired. And there he is. Is that me? Is that me whining, Juan? Yeah, Juan's waving. Hey, buddy. I'm just kidding. No, he says it's Papa Joe.
Yeah.
Listen, folks, you're going to get out and vote. You're going to do the research. 19 states have enacted these laws. You're going to take a look at them. I believe there's some 35 states that have voter ID laws. You're going to talk to your neighbors. You're going to mention this. Next time you see somebody or hear somebody talk about how we don't have these laws, we hated the Affordable Care Act, but that's not who they were appealing to. You're going to bring this up because you're going to do your own research, right? Here's another thing. The 2020 election was not stolen. Now I'm going to talk about why people think it was. The 2020 election was not stolen. I'm talking about other people. Other people think that because Joe Biden polled closely to Trump, that it might look like he won. The 2020 election was not rigged. Don't take me down. People think that because the polling looked good, that it might be believable that Biden won. I don't know if people can believe that they got 81 million votes. The vote was legitimate. Don't take me down. Follow me here. Follow me here. If they believe that from the polling, they would believe that he won. Okay? The polling is so bad now. If all of a sudden Democrats shoot up and are winning state legislatures and governors' mansions and Senate races, and they hold the House of Representatives, people are going to have a real hard time with that one. Follow me? The polling is so bad, and it's been so bad, and it's not getting better. It's going to be real hard for people to swallow this. Are we following me? I think we're following me. The 2020 election was the most secure in history. Okay, enough of that. Follow me? I think you follow me. We have the 19 states have enacted voter ID laws. They call them voter suppression laws. That's a good sign. Folks, we are going to get out and vote. We are absolutely going to get out and vote. Juan, we started a little bit late, so I need a couple extra minutes. I want to do a hard pivot. We're going to keep going. He's going to let me keep going. Folks, you are going to get out and vote. You're going to keep hearing this from me. You're going to research your state. You're going to see that the voter ID laws are there. They would not be complaining as much as they are if these voter ID laws did not have teeth. And the polling is so bad, I don't think there's anyone that'll think that this was legitimate. But the 2020 election clearly was legitimate. All right, hard switch. We're doing a lot of hard switches tonight. The Disinformation Conference has been the most cringiest conference I've seen in my life. They always put them up there in these stupid armchairs that look completely uncomfortable and unnatural. They sit up there and talk about how great they are. They talk down to you. You get morons like Brian Stelter who talk down. That man can't not talk down to people. I can't stand him. He is the great arbiter of truth. He is the media watchdog, even though he doesn't bring up when his network has Me Too allegations, when his network has to can their top rated person, when his network has to can the person in charge for a supposed consensual relationship. I don't think that's the reason that he was pushed out at all. He doesn't report on any of that stuff, but he's still going to sit up there and purport himself to be this great arbiter of truth. He's an absolute piece of garbage. I can't stand the guy. All right, so they have been so tone deaf in talking about disinformation and the views of the media. Juan, do you have the one that you pulled for me with Stelter? Do you have that one? I'd love to have that one first. You have Brian Stelter up there and a bunch of other very, very smart people who are way better than us. There it is. All right, I'm going to let them talk for themselves, and then I'll be back on the other side. Got to play it, Juan.
Trying our best. If you think that we are frauds, then you're opting out of mainstream journalism. You're not inclined to trust but verify. You're inclined to hate. And increasingly, journalists are hate objects, and I think we should just be blunt about how bad the environment is out there for many journalists, especially national journalists who are operating in this environment. It's only getting worse. It's only getting more of a sewer. So what do? Do we teach our kids not to play in the sewer? I think that's going to be a big part of the answer. But I'm kind of meandering. My point is, flawed versus frauds may be.
He can't figure it out. He cannot figure it out why people don't trust him. How tone deaf do you have to be? How can you be wrong so often? And when you are wrong, you're always wrong in one direction. Russia collusion, you went on about that for 3 years. It's been disproven many times, and it's continuing to be proven how bad and how false and how the three-letter agencies and political campaigns colluded and the media colluded to push a narrative that wasn't real. Nicholas Sandmann was not a white supremacist. All the times that they have been wrong, they're always wrong in one direction. And this man sits up there and is just befuddled why people don't trust him. I wonder why, Brian Stelter, you don't cover your own network when you're caught with your hand in the Me Too movement, and when your top guy has to go down, and when the head of the place has to go down, and you guys are wrong in the same direction every time. And he still thinks that they are CNN, the most trusted name in news, and he talks down to you like he is the most. The tone deafness here is just, it's beautiful. It is absolutely delicious. Juan, can you cue up the next one that I have as well? It's another delicious one. I love watching them talk down to me about how right and great they are and how absolutely horrible we are. They cannot for the life of them figure out why people do not trust them. I feel for them. I would very much. I remember back in the 90s, we did trust CNN to some degree. If you needed the news, you did go to CNN first. And then later on, it kind of started not looking quite right under Bush. And then they just started to salivate all over Obama, of course. So then you didn't really want to listen to that either. And then it kind of got worse. And then after Trump, they just completely just went headfirst into the shallow end. And now you have Brian Stelter with brain damage who cannot figure out why people don't trust him. I got another one for you here. It's about the good old laptop and whether or not there was disinformation there. Go ahead and play that one for me, Juan.
Let's take a.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it. I'm Daniel Schmidt. I'm a freshman at the University of Chicago. My question is for Ms. Applebaum. So in 2020, you wrote, "Those who live outside the Fox News bubble do not, of course, need to learn any of the stuff about Hunter Biden," referring to his laptop, of course. A poll later after that found that if voters knew about the content of the laptop, 16% of Joe Biden voters would have acted differently. Now, of course, we know a few weeks ago, the New York Times confirmed that the content is real. Do you think the media acted inappropriately when they instantly dismissed Hunter Biden's laptop as Russian disinformation? And what can we learn from that in ensuring that what we label as disinformation is truly disinformation and not reality?
My problem with Hunter Biden's laptop is I think it's totally irrelevant. I mean, it's not whether it's disinformation or, I mean, I don't think the Hunter Biden's business relationships have anything to do with who should be president of the United States. So I don't find it to be interesting. I mean, that would be my problem with that as a major news story.
We're going to talk about more of this tomorrow in our first panel. So,
well, I don't care about it. I don't care about it, so it doesn't matter. He laid it out there right for you. Ma'am, the question is, the media immediately said it was disinformation. It turns out it is not disinformation. We have polling that shows that 16% of those that voted for Biden would have voted differently. And she goes, well, I don't care about it. So it's not disinformation. There's an effect, ma'am. There's an effect. And I'm talking about it. You're here for the disinformation conference. So we can talk about the effects of disinformation. I put one right up for you. I have citations. I have statistics. I have numbers for you. I have reality for you. And you just dismiss and go, well, I don't think it's interesting. So who cares? I'm at the University of Chicago where I'm supposed to have nothing but people who agree with me. That's all it's supposed to be here. And oh, how'd you get through here with your free thinking and your own research? How did you possibly do that? The tone deafness of her going, well, I just don't think it's important. Ma'am, the topic of the question was actually there was an effect. It was dismissed. It doesn't matter if you think that it is important. There has been an effect, and there has been polling that shows that 16% of those who voted for Biden would have voted differently if they knew this information. Ma'am, it does not matter if you think it has anything to do with the election. People thought it had something to do with the election. Had they known about this ahead of time, it would have affected things. It would have changed things. And all she has to do is sit up there at the disinformation conference and go, well, I just don't care. And if I don't care, then that's it. Then there's clearly no effect. There's clearly no effect to talk about. And there's nothing to see here, folks. On to the next one. Can you be any more disingenuous? Can you be? I absolutely don't think it's possible at all. Well, that was fun. That was quick. We've got Queso coming up next. She's got a great show for you on. We're going to do a little plug. We're going to look super cool. We're going to stretch this out. We're going to talk some more. Absolutely. Let's talk some more. We got to keep going. Let's just talk about the idea that the media is still living in a world where they believe that they are always right and that people believe that they are always right. Once upon a time, you could click on the TV and go, this is the news. They are telling me the news. However, now they've just gotten to a point where it's talking heads who regurgitate the same talking points all day long. And where are they getting those talking points from? Those that think just like them, from these administrations, from these liberal politicians, and they push that same narrative. I have been finding it quite interesting to watch these talking heads on these leftist media shows. Flabbergasted and almost scared. People aren't going to vote for Democrats. Why? People aren't going to vote for the Democrats. Well, I don't know, because you're in charge of everything and everything sucks. Because everything sucks. Give me one thing that's better than it was a year ago. Give me one thing. No, you don't have it. And then you're sitting there, and I hate when people say that phrase. You're going to sit there and tell me you're on television, flabbergasted. People just aren't going to vote Democrat. What are we going to do? Oh, let's use language like this. It's the end of our democracy. Yes, because you had Donald Trump in office. We held the most secure election in history. It was the most secure election. And then Joe Biden took office, and then the Democrats took control of the Senate, and now they have control of the legislative branch. And that was supposed to be the end of democracy. And then you have these talking heads who regurgitate what the liberal media give them. And now the new one is, let's go back to fear. Stoking division isn't working. Stoking division isn't working. What are we going to do? Fear. Let's go back to our good friend, fear. It'll be the end of our democracy. It's the end of our democracy. It's going to be the end of our democracy. Voter suppression. It's the end of our democracy. No, folks, people are going to vote, and people are seeing what's going on, and they saw what happened after the 2020 election. The 2020 election was the most secure of all time, and it's completely legitimate. People don't believe those on TV. They don't believe what they're being told. You have pushed it so far that even when you're telling the truth, people go, that seems legit, but you're telling me I don't believe you. That's how far you've pushed people. That is how far you have pushed people. You have done this. If you had one modicum of an ounce of integrity, people would want to believe you. But you have perpetuated and lived off of the clicks from pushing to your echo chamber. And Donald Trump said it himself, if I lose this election, it's really going to hurt CNN. They've lost over 80% of their viewership. And they won't change their model because they're right, you're wrong. Not only are they right, they're right, you're evil. Don Lemon can sit up there and tell us how he's a straight journalist. Juan's having a hard time. I love you, buddy. You're doing all right. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk. Don Lemon can sit up there and tell us that he's a straight journalist, and Cuomo could do the same thing. And well, we've lost Cuomo now. And Stelter could say that he's keeping charge or keeping track of what's going on in the media, and he's going to give us his reliable sources. And they can continue to back and push the liberal talking points and be wrong over and over and over and keep doing it. And then they can go to these disinformation conferences and preach to you and lecture to you and talk down to you. One thing that's better than a year ago, China. Look at Kay Bean. China is better. Hey, folks, you gotta watch out. Taiwan is over there going, ooh. You got China looking at Taiwan going, you look like a snack. Yeah, so I could definitely see that being the case. The media is their own problem, and they're not stopping. And they just keep pushing. Now take a look at what's happening out there in the market. You have Joe Rogan, who will talk to anyone, which is what we're supposed to do. I hate to say it, he's getting a bit red pilled. He's very libertarian. He's just leave me alone is Joe Rogan. You got Tim Cass, who's a liberal, classic liberal, but I think he's getting red pilled because of how far the left has gone and how he doesn't have a home anymore. And you have Daily Wire just taking off like crazy. You still have the Blaze out there. You've got Right America Media on the up and up, just like a rocket ship. The market is out there, and they can keep pushing what they're doing. But there's really smart people out there like me who can talk about the important things without saying anything that's going to get us taken down. And our audiences like you are smart enough to know that when I'm saying things, you know what we're doing. We got to work around this nonsense, and we're going to keep getting that message out. The market is responding. The market is absolutely responding. You can see people getting the hundreds of thousands, the millions of views, because nobody trusts what the media is doing, and the media only has the media to blame, and they cannot get off their high horse. They absolutely cannot get off of the, what is it they feel? Because I don't feel it, just the superiority. The moral superiority, especially the intellectual superiority. They get to sit up there, like you saw, on the stage with their stupid armchairs and look really uncomfortable while they're doing it. And I just feel like I'm sliding out of my chair when I see them in those chairs. I absolutely hate them. And they're going to talk down to us the whole time and be completely tone deaf and have no idea how we got here. Juan, do we need a little bit more time? I can go back to an earlier topic. All right, a couple more minutes. I was talking to you earlier about Janice Rogers Brown. She could have been the first African-American on the bench, and instead you had Biden, who blocked that twice and then said as he would filibuster if she was to go to the Supreme Court. It is not about making history for them, so don't fall for it, folks. I really want to talk about this a little bit more earlier, so I'm glad we got a little bit extra time. It is not about making history, folks. It's about pandering for votes. And unfortunately, this is going to work. They're going to get some votes for it. And we as a country are going to have a person on the bench for a long time, decades and decades to come, who is going to be a liberal activist, who is not there to interpret the law, who is not there to interpret the Constitution, but is to put their moral scope on what this law is and what they want it to do. And it's egregious and it's horrible. And they were supposed to be the weakest of the three branches, even though separate but equal. They were really supposed to be in there to kind of call strikes and balls and not to legislate from the bench. But like I said earlier, you have the liberals who use the bench in order to get laws passed that they cannot get passed through a representative body with checks and balances and an executive branch in order to execute it. This is what they do. Keep in mind, folks, she'll be there for a while. It is not a 6'3". Roberts by no means is a conservative. At best, he's down the middle, but he's very much gone to the left, far too much for my liking. It is 5'4". Not only is it 5'4", we've seen Kavanaugh a couple times now go the other way. Maybe he's interpreted the Constitution as such. We do still have Clarence Thomas. Thank God for that. I think Amy Coney Barrett will be solidly for us on the conservative side. I don't think that's 100% by any means. You have Gorsuch, who will be solidly on that side as well. I don't think that's 100% by any means either. But we have a 5'4". And you know that Breyer was approached. We need you to retire. He's the outgoing justice. We need you to retire while Joe Biden is here, and it's not, an election year for him, so we can get the next one in. And we don't want you dying either, and then we don't get the next one in, which is what happened with the notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They needed to avoid that. They thought they'd get a bump for this. He might get a short-term bump for this. He might. I do think that there are folks who support the first African-American woman to the bench who don't like her stances on the sentences she's given for predators. I'm going to avoid the term because I think I'll get in trouble for using it. See, KB loves you, Juan. See? Look at that. We love you. We love you. People who will vote for Biden over this nomination, they have a hard time with the sentences that she's given. I think they also have a hard time that she could not say what a woman was. And as soon as she could not say what a woman was, it absolutely showed where her ideology was and that she was going to be an activist judge. She was not there by any means to rule on the Constitution and the law. Juan, I think you're ready. Juan is ready. We love you, Juan. Thank you so much. You put so much into this. I had a good time tonight. I will be back Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I would love for you to all to stick around. Check out the next show. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Welcome to K-Soak Uncensored. Today's special guest is Ron Ward. Ron is a former federal law enforcement academy director. He is an author of a book that I cannot wait to get my hands on, The Dirty Side of Leadership. And he is a leadership trainer. I cannot wait. We're going to dive into all sorts of subjects